three of the most dangerous people that are opposing Christianity.
Mary Magdala, even the French records say she's Mara Magdala and a negress, an Ethiopian negress. So Jesus was a black man, born of a black woman, and married to a black woman.
It's critical that the Jews must be white, theologically. Because once the Jews are white and they're at the door of the Bible, then anyone who reads this text must read it through the interpretation and the culture of those that are claimed to be Jews. So once the Jews are white, do you have a problem with the white Jesus?
Christianity somehow believes it's the golden boy of all spirituality. Why?
Well, hello friends, welcome to Community Podcast. My name is Pastor William. I'm so excited that you have joined us. If it is your first time joining in today, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and let's converse together and build this community together. If there's questions that you have, you can comment down below. If there's something that you want to add, you can comment down below. And remember, just share this video, because I believe that so many people need this information that we are really giving to you on Community Podcast, so that people can be able to have the proper knowledge. I'm not saying that mine is above all. I'm saying that I'm looking at how things are. I research, I look into other information and ask other people, and I come up with a conclusion, and also I come up with a thought that I believe that is worthy to be on the table so that we can be able to discuss. But other than that, today I have three of the most dangerous people that are opposing Christianity. You know, the reason why I'm bringing these people on the table is because these are most dangerous people. They are seen as most, intellectual people. Yes, they are educated. And you'll see others are professors. But then here's the thing, their knowledge got them to a certain point. And now they really interpreting the knowledge that they have based upon how they feel and based upon their belief and faith, and they bring it on the table as if it's conclusive. And now I'm bringing these names on the table because these are most dangerous people that are opposing Christianity in South Africa today. So let's get into it. The first name is Abba from Unpopular Podcast. So Abba's full name is, I think it's Abba Ayalew Amlak, right? So Abba is very knowledgeable when it comes to other things, when it comes to history, right? So what I like about him is that you can be able to sit down with him and learn from other things that he knows about history that you don't know. When it comes to the issue of the manuscripts of the Bible, when it comes to the history of the Romans and other parts of history of Africa, he knows things, right? But the problem is knowledge can go to a certain extent, right? So now he knows these things, but he doesn't know how to apply these things, right? And sometimes you can't even have a debate with him or a conversation with him, because to him the thing that he knows is conclusive, even though history is really vast and it's really big. And that's why we have archaeologists who go and study history, who go dig up the things that they need to dig up for us to be able to make sense of a particular information that we have in history. But for him, what he knows is conclusive and you can't argue it. So it's very dangerous. And also Abba is not a spiritual person. So you listen to how he speaks about African spirituality, and the way he speaks about other religions, and also including Christianity and Muslim. You would really when you listen to him speak, you're like, yeah, but he doesn't believe in anything. I remember when he had a conversation with someone and they asked him what is the definition of God to him, and he says that God is a woman, and also he continued to say that God is him and a woman coming together. And they also speak about other things which I cannot mention on this particular podcast. So Abba is really not spiritual. Today he might be attacking Christianity. Tomorrow he might be attacking Muslims. Tomorrow he might be attacking African spirituality, sangomas, and all those things. So he's one of the people that I consider the top 3 that are really dangerous when it comes to opposing Christianity. So another person is Joshua Maponga. So if you have knowledge about Joshua Maponga, you would realize that Joshua Maponga was actually a Christian. Not only was he a Christian, but he was a preacher. He was known as Bishop Joshua, so Bishop Joshua Maponga. So now what makes him dangerous is that he comes from his country, and he comes to South Africa and goes to other countries as well, and he debates against Christianity. And now another thing is that he is, well versed with some scriptures in the Bible, but then you might be well versed but don't know how to apply the scripture. And secondly, his knowledge of the scripture is really limited, right? Because now I'm not sure if he studied theology or systematic theology, but then when you listen to him speaking, you see there is something that is troublesome, so his mind is full of colonization, for lack of a better word. He argues against colonization, and he brings Christianity in it, not realizing that Christianity was here before colonization. That's why I'm saying that his knowledge of the Bible and the history of the Bible is really limited. But then he has a huge following from older people and younger people and middle class people. People are following him, not realizing that his knowledge is really limited. I'm not saying he's not an intellectual. He's very intellectual. When you sit down with him and begin to engage with him, you will see that this person knows what he's talking about, but his knowledge is limited, and which makes him dangerous and puts him in the top 3 of people that are opposing Christianity. But when you listen to him as well, you realize that he is really hurt. There is something that hurt him when it comes to the church, perhaps where he was serving. Perhaps things that didn't go correctly, and now he's carrying that pain, and he's just giving that pain away to people arguing against Christianity based on African spirituality. And when it comes to African spirituality, you realize that his knowledge also is limited. So when he speaks about African spirituality, he speaks about the things that we know, things that have been argued against for many years. So he doesn't go deeper into what is actually African spirituality and why we should believe in African spirituality. Yet he brings this terminology, indigenous way of worship, and he tries to break it down so that people can be able to understand, but based on the limited information that he has. The top one is, I think is Professor, so I'm going to say Professor Mathole Motshekga. Professor Mathole is really knowledgeable when it comes to the historical things, right? That I will not argue. I will give him a hat that he deserves. He is very intellectual. He is educated. He is well learned. What makes him dangerous also is the application of what he knows. So the history that he has is really not really conclusive. So what he does, and I'm just going to put it on the table and you comment down below, Professor Motshekga, what he does is that he will hear maybe in history that there was a Jesus who lived in India. What he does is that he will trace the age of that particular Jesus, the timeline when he lived, and he would say that this is the Jesus who was supposed to have died on Golgotha, or who was supposed to have died on the cross. So that means that now Jesus didn't die, they placed someone else on the cross. That's what he would say. But then when you look into history, you'd realize that the name Jesus was actually a common name. So that's why they called him the crucified one. That's why they called him the Messiah, because they wanted to separate him from other people who are called Jesus. So he takes one of those people that are called Jesus, and he says that no, Jesus didn't die for your sin. Actually, Jesus had a wife, and his wife was Mary. He lived in India, and he died in India. He had a family in India, and he would build this history, and he would write a book or a document and tell people and go to symposiums and teach young people this, and not knowing that this is false, young people will believe it. And now Professor Motshekga, what makes him dangerous is that's one, and two, he has a huge following when it comes to varsity students, when it comes to people who are studying, and people who research, people who are still young couples who have questions when it comes to African spirituality and Christianity. So he also speaks about the indigenous way of worship. So it makes him very dangerous. So these top three people are dangerous because they themselves, like I said, Abba doesn't believe in African spirituality, doesn't believe in Christianity or religion. He believes in whatever he believes in. So I consider him as spiritual, meaning that he doesn't believe on anything spirituality. He doesn't believe in it. So when it comes to Joshua, Maponga, and Professor Mathole, when you listen to them speak, you realize that they believe in African spirituality, but their belief of African spirituality is limited to what they do in their tribe or in their family, right? So they don't know vast about African spirituality, but they themselves are really knowledgeable and intellectuals, so you can actually sit down and have a healthy debate with them. So guys, I was just giving you the list so that my fellow Christians don't get timid when they see these people all over opposing Christianity. Just stand in your face. So thank you so much for joining us. Remember to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, and let's grow this community together.